Let's ponder for a minute on my front porch here. Usually when I talk on my front porch, usually it's something pretty serious. And this is pretty serious. You know, these two machines that are coming out on the market, you know, the Deus 2 and the Nocta Legend. What's different from these two machines from their predecessors? You know, a couple things, you know. They're going to be waterproof, they're going to be updatable, they're going to be, you know, multi-frequency. You know, a lot of hype is in this new multi-frequency thing. And it's not really a new technology, you know. The V3i had multi-frequency. And let me talk a little bit about the V3i. The V3i had a couple really unique features back in the days. You know, when I was in my 20s, the V3i came out. I was just a little young buck, and I always wanted one of those V3i. Finally, when I was in my late 20s, I got a V3i, and I thought it was freaking absolutely amazing, right? Multi-frequency, you have stereo headphones, and it's not only stereo headphones. You know, a lot of guys take that lightly, you know, having stereo headphones nowadays. It was way better than stereo, man. That mixed mode audio, or, you know, multi-channel audio, or stereo headphones was freaking absolutely amazing. If you guys don't know about the multi-channel audio, it's hard to demonstrate that on video because it's a multi-channel feature. So, you know, unless you have two microphones on your camera, you just really can't get the whole depth of that technology down. I can't portray that on video, right? When you swing over a target, let me explain how this works, right? In your left ear, you have your threshold. You know, back then we had thresholds on machines, right? And they actually did things, right? Nowadays the thresholds on machines don't do anything, right? You don't see many guys use thresholds on machines these days because a lot of machines don't have them, and it's just not really needed, you know. So let's get back to how the mixed mode audio works, the stereo headphones. And so the left ear, you have your threshold and your all metal channel, right? Then in your right ear, you have your discriminative channel. So you can discriminate, and like, let's say if you're just coin shooting or you're going for gold rings, you just have it discriminated in your right ear, and in your left ear you have that threshold and that all metal. So you hear all what's happening in the ground in your left ear. And your right ear, when you hit over a target that you want to dig out, it is like freaking heaven, man. If you've never experienced that before, man, if you know somebody who has a V3i or some of the older machines that had the stereo, the mixed mode audio, it is a freaking amazing feature on machines. You know, I tested some prototypes for White's Electronics. I can't really tell you the name because, you know, it's White's Electronics did sell out to Garrett, but I'm sure that they're developing something along the ways of mixed mode audio for the machines, because that technology cannot die, right? Because it's an audio perspective of metal detecting. And really, what have I talked about in the past? You know, metal detecting is a tonal game, right? It's not a numbers game. If you're looking at your numbers on every target, you know, you're going to dig up a lot less targets. If you're looking at your meter on your machine, the depth meter, and messing with your buttons, you're going to dig a lot less targets out, and you're going to get fewer gold rings, right? The more targets that you can get out of the ground, the more gold rings you'll get, period, right? But let's get back to this V3i then. Right, that technology was freaking amazing, man. When I would swing over a freaking coin or a good target, a deeper target, it just would harmonize. It would resonate in your brain, man. It just does something. It does something to your senses. That mixed mode audio. When you get over target, it just seems like I can't explain it, right? They're just, I just can't explain it. You know, when I was using my V3i, that's mainly what I was using my V3i with, in that with that feature on it. You know, the new machines that I was testing for White's Electronics, they had that feature on them, but those machines never really made it to market, just because White's was kind of going downhill when I was testing their machine, when I was field testing for their research and development team. And I'm going to tell you, you know, nowadays, you know, there's a lot of detectorists out there swinging. A lot of parks in my area are just beat up bad. All the curb strips have been all hit. You know, there's still a lot of good targets deep down there. But, you know, with the Deus, you know, the reason why I can get so many targets out with the Deus is because it's lightweight. And I can swing around and get all those 4 or 5 inch deep targets just super duper duper fast. With those older machines, I just wasn't able to do it. And the older machines were not waterproof, so I wasn't really able to dig in the pouring down rain. And it rains a lot here in Oregon. And I can't really demonstrate on the older machines how good they really are, because they're analog, right? How good they are because the tonal nuances of those old machines were great, especially the MXT All Pro. I wish I could do more videos with the MXT All Pro, but it just wears me out. Just too heavy a machine. You know, I want to get out a lot of targets out of the ground, and you know, the newer machines really do get a lot more targets out of the ground because they're lighter weight. But let's get back to this audio thing. You know, what I want in a machine is I want tonal nuances with the iron, right? If you want to dig out less iron, if you're digging a lot of deep nails, there's several reasons why you're getting deep nails with any machine, right? One reason, you're probably trying to go too deep, right? You're probably trying to push the detector a little bit deeper than it, you know, you should be pushing it. And another reason, you're swinging too slow. If you're swinging slow, any detector is going to hit on nails really good, right? And that's the reason why I don't dig up a lot of nails with the Deus, because I'm swinging faster, right? It can reject all those nails. And another reason why you are getting a lot of deep nails is because you don't have that iron audio tonal nuance, right? With these with the new note legend that's coming out, you know, 60 tones, come on, 60 tones, that's all we got, right? You know, the Equinox has 50 tones, but 10 of those tones are not really usable because it's just like a bland tone, right? The iron tone. The only way that you could use those lower tones on the Equinox is if you have it in 50 tone. But most of the targets that you're going for are going to be really broken tones because it only has 50 tones, right? Stay with me here on this. Now, what I want in a machine, I want to reject the iron. You know, the technology is going so backwards right now, you know. They're getting into multi-frequencies, you know, they want them to go deeper. You know, when you want to go deeper and you want multi-frequencies, you're just going to have a more unstable operation, right? You're going to get more jumpier tones because you're running at multi-frequency because there's more junk in the ground, right? Back in the days, you know, when we're getting handfuls of silvers every day, there wasn't a lot of trash in the ground, right? Some ring pulls, quite a few ring pulls, but not like it is today, man. You got a lot of junk. And multi-frequency machines, like SMF machines, struggle in the trash. And from here on out, there's going to be less coins in the ground because a lot of countries, a lot of governments are not going with the coin thing anymore, right? And all these parks and all these places are getting beat up. And the pandemic has a lot to do with that too. Not a lot of people are outside dropping their coins and jewelry and rings and stuff. So what I want in a metal detector is I want to have some tonal nuances on the iron so I can reject the iron. Because I want to know I want to know if that deep target is a nail or a coin. That's how you get fooled by those deep nails, because you're trying to go deep. And those deep targets with any detector, with any size of coil, is going to be an iffy tone, right? And when you have simultaneous multi-frequency machine running different frequencies, it's going to be even more jumpy of a tone, right? So what I need in a metal detector is I want more tones in the lower range. I want to know if that target is a dime, deep dime, or a nail. And with the machines that I've had in the past that have a lot of iron tones, a lot of tonal nuances in the lower end, you know, in the lower range of iron or in the lower tones, those are the ones that get you the least amount of those deep nails, right? Those are the ones that trick you, that deep stuff, right? I want a machine that's going to get through the iron. I don't want a machine that's going to get coins, because coins are not going to be here forever, right? So many guys are out there hunting now and getting all those coins out. I want to get those targets that are deeper in the ground, and there's a lot of nails down there. So I want to reject those nails. But with a multi-frequency machine, I've just known in the past, those multi-frequency machines just fail, right? The V3i did have a couple good things going for it. You know, the mixed mode audio, and also the, when you're running multi-frequencies, you had a bar graph on that detector, and it showed you which frequency was hitting that target the hardest, right? It gave you a meter on each one of those frequencies, so you can actually monitor. You can look at the screen and monitor which one of those frequencies is actually responding better to that target, right? Then you can reject it. And really, you know, looking at a screen, it's not really my forte. You know, like I said, it's a tonal game. It's mostly a tonal game. We are not going out there and swinging around just looking at our detector the whole time. If you're doing that, you're spending a lot of time looking at your detector. You're not really going to get much out of the ground. You know, with the Deus, I just bam, 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 smacking them out, clearing the ground out, right? Getting them out of the ground so I can uncover, so I can unmask those deeper targets. And it's just, you got to get the junk out, man. You got to get the junk out, you know, on those iffy targets. You know, when you're in multi-frequency, it's going to be really, really jumpy tones. And that's what's going to alert us. That's what's going to alert us to dig that target out, is a nice, crisp, clean tone. The more tones you have, you look at the Deus. The Deus has hundreds of tones it gives you on each target. Hundreds of tones that it is able to give you. And what it does is it just wraps up all those tones into one audible signal, right? With these other machines, those junky targets sound good because they don't have that tonal nuance, right? They don't have that tonal range that is needed to get through trash and get through iron. You know, if you, like I said in the past, the iron tones are more important than any tone that you have, so you can reject the iron. So you can identify that iron in the ground there. All machines will false on nails. All my machines false on nails. But you can tell that it's falsing on a nail if you can hear that iron in the background, that little bit of click or a little bit of wow wow. If your machine is not able to hear those lower tones, or if you're discriminated, you're gonna dig up a lot more junk, a lot more deep nails, right? The reason why the Deus is so good at those, you know, 4 and 5 inch deeper targets, because I can hear all that iron on the ground, that full range of iron, right? I can reject it just by swinging over it, just by sweeping over it and gliding over it, right? Other machines, you know, you get a beep, 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 and then you have to rotate out and beep, beep, and then it starts grunting out at you a little bit. When I swing over a nail with the Deus, it just gives me a grunt, right? If I swing slower over it, it'll give me a good high tone. And then you end up digging a lot of nails out if you swing slow over targets, right? I'm gonna get out detecting. My batteries are all charged. Thank you for watching. please subscribe.